Well, good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Pretty good here, and welcome to the channel. Before I get started here, I want to thank all the new subscribers, of course, all of the existing subscribers, but all of the new subscribers that have come over to the channel. The subs on the channel has been increasing steadily here recently, so we've got a lot of new people on here, and I just want to say thanks for subbing to the channel and watching the vids. Out here driving around in the Tundra. Made my sweet tea run this morning. Love the sweet tea. And I want to get on here and talk about a few must-haves. A few must-have options or mods that you've got to do to this truck once you get it. I will say these seats are so comfortable. The fine Corinthian leather. It's probably not Corinthian leather, but man, they're comfortable. But anyway, I digress. So the first thing for me is the spray-in Bedliner. This truck didn't come with any kind of liner. Go figure. So I had to take care of that immediately, and I think that's something that you need to do right away, especially if you use your truck as it's intended. I mean, that bed was just painted, same as the rest of the body is on the truck, so if you put anything in there, you're going to scratch it, and if you scratch it enough, or dent it, you're going to rust. And the last thing you want to do is have your bed rust out. I mean, you bought a truck, you want the bed, right? You don't want it to rust out so that it's like Swiss cheese back there, right? So you got to put a bed liner, and I would go with a spray-in bed liner. I did a Line X myself. I know there are others. Line X for me is top of the line. I've had them before, and it's always been a great product. It lasts. It takes a beating, and it looks good. You wash the truck, looks like it did when you got it. Now, there's nothing wrong with a drop-in liner. At least they protect your bed. I don't find them to be as aesthetically pleasing. They normally don't fit exactly right. And they move around when you're driving. If you're at higher speeds, they kind of float, creak, move around. They're noisy. But they do protect the bed, and that's what I'm getting at here. So whichever way you decide to go, you've got to put something in there to protect that bed. The next thing is tinted windows. You know, you've got a lot of window space in a truck like this, and that means that you're going to get a lot of sun beating in on you. I mean, you can see the sun shining in on me now, and that's filtered through tinted windows. But I'll tell you, if you drive the truck like I do, when I drive it to work, I'm at rush hour traffic going in, and I'm in rush hour traffic coming home, so I'm pretty much sitting on the freeway. And the route that I take, the sun comes in the driver's side window, and if you don't have anything on it, it just blinds you. It beats through you because it's, of course, going down. It's nighttime, and it's almost painful, at least for me, to have that sun blasting in your eyes. And even if you're wearing sunglasses, you know, it gets right in the side of your sunglasses here. They don't protect you from it. So you got to have tinted windows. And I'm not saying that, you have to go to limo tint or anything crazy. If you live in an area where tint is either highly restricted or maybe not even allowed at all. I know there's some places like that. You can get a clear tint that'll cut the UV rays. I'm sure that would help in reducing the glare and the effect that you get from the sun. But you got to have it. Not only does it look good, but it's functional. The next thing for me is that antenna over there. Trucks today, if you have an antenna, and I don't know why they're not integrated somewhere else in the vehicle where you don't have it at all, but they all seem to come with an antenna. And it's one of the whip antennas that's like 8 feet long. I might exaggerate a little, but they're long. And if you park in a garage, and if any of you guys have ever experienced this, it always hits the opening of the garage, either the garage door itself or the frame around the garage opening. I'm always afraid when I had one that it was going to catch on something and rip it right out of the socket, you know? Because I don't know that it ever would, but you know, it has that ball on top, and I can see it catching on the lip or the edge of something and ripping right off. So I always replace that with a shorter antenna. You don't have to go, you know, gangster stubby or anything if you don't want to. I've got, I believe it's a 13-inch antenna on mine now. Reception has been unaffected. I don't listen to the radio that much anyway, but when I do, I don't even notice it. It's not like it's, you know, all snowy or anything, because I don't have that 8-foot long, 3-foot long antenna. And there is one benefit, and I wasn't aware of this, so that you should be aware, I guess. Somebody told me that those antennas are at cab height, so that you know when you're going under something that's too low, or they're actually a little bit higher, I guess. But anyway, so that when you're going under something that's too low, if that antenna catches, that's kind of a warning that you're going under something that's too low. So that's something to consider. The only place that I ever pull into, I guess, that is low enough that I'd even be concerned about is my own garage. So if I clear my garage, I don't have to worry about that, because I'm not going anywhere else where there's something overhead that could hit, you know, the cab. So that's something to be aware of if you're in that situation, I guess. The next thing, and this is, if you're in a winter climate, I guess, are heated seats, man. You got to have heated seats. There's nothing worse than going out, getting in your truck, taking off, and freezing for the next 10, 15 minutes, whatever, until it warms up. Now, some people I know say, well, I've got the automatic start thing or remote start, so I hit that, warm it up. It's already warm by the time I get out there, who cares? You know, it's a truck that gets really crappy gas mileage as it is. I know, it's a truck. It's supposed to get bad mileage, but why make it even worse by having to warm the thing up every day? I mean, if I get in it and I turn the heated seats on, they're heated up. I don't have to do that. No big deal. And you can do this aftermarket, of course. If the truck doesn't come with heated seats, just have some aftermarket seats put on. It's $250, $300, maybe $400. Well worth it, let me tell you, from an economy standpoint and a comfort standpoint. Next is a front-facing camera. I don't know of any trucks that come with a front-facing camera. Maybe there are some, I don't know. I've never had one, but they're big. You can't see over the front, right? And every day when I go to work, when I drive the truck to work, I pull up to a rail. And I'm sure some of you guys have done this. Not necessarily a rail, but something that you're pulling up against. But I pull up, and hopefully there's another car beside me, so I can at least see where they're at as compared to where the rail is. But I pull up, and I'm inching forward. You know, I just keep inching forward until I think I'm about where that car is, you know, front-wise or bumper-wise, because I can see that they're not on the rail. And I try to match up the front of my truck so that I don't hit the rail. Because the last thing I want to do with my $50,000 truck is pull up against a rail and damage it because of something so trivial as that. Now, some of you might say, well, just don't pull up that close. But I can't do that, because then I'm hanging out in the back and I'm really in the throughway there for other people coming in to park, and then I chance getting hit by somebody pulling in. So a front-facing camera, you know, that's, oh, there goes a Ram Rebel just went by. I'm going to check into doing that. What I'd like to have is something that is in the front that I can see where I'm at in relation to what I'm pulling up against, that shows on the screen in the infotainment system. That would be perfect. So I'm going to check into that. That, to me, is a must-have mod in a big truck, particularly one this size. This thing is huge. The last thing that I'm going to mention, and I'm up in the air about this a little bit, and this, again, applies if you live in a winter climate where they salt the roads. And that is undercoating. People have asked me over and over again, did you get it undercoated? Are you going to get it undercoated? You know, I'm not a big fan of undercoating. I never have been. You know, the truck comes from the factory, and they used to have almost an undercoating or undercoat treatment, you know, whether it be paint or an actual undercoating, to protect the frame and all the bits and pieces under there that can rust. Now, I don't know that they're doing that anymore, and I've heard specifically on the Tundra that, you know, the frame's going to rust. It's a pocket kind of frame, and stuff can get in there and it'll rust if you don't have it undercoated. You know, if you're going to keep the truck for a long time, obviously you don't want the frame to rust out. I mean, that's a bad thing. You don't want that to happen. There is some warranty for that, but eventually it's going to expire. So it's probably not a bad idea if you live in an area that has a winter where the roads are treated with salt, like I do. We love salt here. We love mountains of salt. Everywhere you look, there's salt when there's snow. And obviously that salt is getting underneath my truck, sitting on my frame, and I'm sure I've got rust already, surface rust, because of it. So it's probably not a bad investment. I think you can have it done for, seems to me like somewhere between $600 to $800, something like that. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore, as long as your installer does a good job. That's the other thing with that. You can undercoat it all you want, but if they miss an area or it comes off in an area, you're still going to get rust. And that's kind of why I'm a little bit up in the air on it. Anyway, those are a few things that I think are must-haves on the truck. I've already done some myself. The truck did come with heated seats and at least a rear camera, which is a good thing. But we got a few more to do going forward. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching. Please give this video a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't before. And we'll see you next time on the web. Have a good day. Bye.